All right, and we're live with a very special session from Haute Residence today, focusing on the city of Sunrise. Thrilled to have you all here. And as we let our viewers join us, I want to go around before we do our formal introduction, starting with you, Danielle. What your biggest takeaway has been from 2020 and how you're applying it to 2021.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. So my biggest takeaway of 2020, I would say, with a sudden and devastating impact of the pandemic and then the subsequent lockdowns, that really hit businesses extremely hard in 2020, and not just businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, but also even municipalities. We all had a really strong impact with that. And, and I think the big takeaway for me is how we are all so able to adapt and be flexible and be innovative despite all of the challenges that we faced. We were able to shift and do things creatively. And just to give you an example about myself and my role as an economic development professional, I focus in economic development, redevelopment, attracting new businesses, and that's what I do on a daily basis. And when we went through this impact of COVID, I completely had to shift my focus and really try to help businesses survive. So my main focus was on providing incentives and help and grants for businesses, for the small businesses that were really suffering, to make sure that they were able to survive through this crisis. So for me, it just really showed us that we are able to be flexible and be innovative with different things. And I do hope that I continue that path in 2021 and for many years to come. And I think not just for me, but for all the other businesses as well, just showing them that they are able to be innovative and flexible and change when circumstances change. So, I believe that this will enable us to keep innovating at a faster pace for years to come. So that would be my biggest takeaway.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Kate, how about you?
Hi, thank you. I would say the biggest takeaway absolutely is that, especially being in healthcare during the pandemic, we had to recognize agility and flexibility right off the bat. And we did a lot of internal shuffling, if you will, or reorganization so that we could accommodate COVID patients. Flexibility was first and foremost. We spent a lot of our time reevaluating our resources, what we needed to do. We are the largest healthcare system here in South Florida. We have approximately 23,000 employees. We took 8,000 of those employees within a week and made them all remote. And fortunately, we had the technology to do that. We had the innovation to do that, but that was no small undertaking by any stretch of the imagination. And in addition, we redeployed so many of our frontline workers from our outpatient facilities to the hospitals. We brought in 500 travel nurses from across the country. This was really about response for us, as opposed to, trying to figure out what we're going to do. We didn't have a choice in what we were going to do. So we really had to put our plan into action. We had to be flexible, and we had to utilize every available resource that we had. And in my role with the organization, that was communicating with the community at large to, this is a very scary time. It is, there's a lot of uncertainty. And my role was to really act on behalf of the hospital system as a resource to provide information, education, and keep people calm and understanding what was happening with this pandemic.
Thank you, Kate. Eric, over to you with Metropica.
Good afternoon, everyone. The biggest issue that we had with 2020 was our ability to adapt to a changing marketplace. What was happening in the hotel market, the retailers filing bankruptcy throughout the country and shutting down their operations. And of course, the residential market kept shifting on us. So one of the things that we had to focus on was adapting our plan to what the new normal was going to be. For example, the retailers throughout the United States, a lot of them were taking the opportunity to file bankruptcy so they could close their underperforming stores. With the market in South Florida and generally in the state of Florida being extremely healthy, and with the demand of the population change coming into South Florida, we could see, as long as we had a great location, that we would have continuing demand, not only for retail locations, for office and potentially in the future hotel locations. So the biggest thing that we learned in 2020 was we had to be patient, we had to adapt, and we had to come up with plans for the new normal, which we believe we've done in our latest reconfiguration of the Metropica project.
Erick, thanks so much. So we're sure looking forward to a great hour together discussing the economic development there in Sunrise and, you know, looking ahead through 2021 and beyond. Let's go ahead and begin with our formal introduction, starting with you, Danielle. Danielle Cohen Lima is the Economic and Community Enrichment Manager for the City of Sunrise. Danielle takes great pride in propelling the city forward with its pro-business attitude. In the past 20 years alone, more than $200 billion worth of corporate investment and nearly 4 million square feet of business facilities have taken root in Sunrise. Welcome, Danielle. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Next, over to Kate Goldman, the Director of Government and Community Relations for Baptist Health in Broward County. Kate has long been focused on fostering key relationships between Baptist Health, South Florida, and the Broward County community, growing Baptist's footprint within the business sector, as well as amongst professional and civic organizations and government and educational institutions. Kate, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
And last but not least, Mr. Erick Collazo, Vice President of Development for the $1.5 billion, 65-acre master plan Metropica community in Sunrise. He's one of the industry's most respected professionals. Erick has enjoyed an illustrious career in real estate, known for being at the forefront of transformative mixed-use projects in the US and across Europe. Erick, thanks so much for being with us and speaking on behalf of Metropica with us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
So Danielle, beginning over with you, the city of Sunrise is some 18 square miles in size, but some of our regions, being South Florida's most impressive companies, have a significant presence in the city. Entities like American Express, AT&T, HBO Latin America, and of course, Baptist Health, who's a part of today's panel. How has the city been so successful in drawing such top flight organizations? And I know there's some news pending too about, you know, some future businesses that are also going to relocate over to Sunrise. What can you share with us today?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. There are many different factors that make Sunrise so attractive to large, medium-sized, and even small businesses. And I'll talk about some of those that I think are most important to businesses that come to Sunrise, starting with our location. So that is really a major one, our easy access to global markets, to Latin America through our 3 nearby airports, the seaports, and also our access to talented workforce, right? So when companies are looking to relocate or expand their business, they want to make sure that they have talented people that they can hire to work on those companies. So with us having direct access to I-75, I-595, I-95, the Florida Turnpike, it really makes it an attractive place for businesses to come because they know that they can have access to that pool of over 2.7 million workers in the region. So that's really another attractive thing about the city. And then also in terms of our location, we do have a 650-acre international corporate park right in the heart of our business and entertainment district. And with having that corporate park, we already have all the infrastructure in place for businesses to come here. And we already have, like you said, so many great businesses within that corporate park. And businesses, headquarters or other type of businesses, many of the targeted industry businesses like technology or even in the medical field, they want to be close to other large businesses that they can feed off from each other. So having already that in place in the corporate park, businesses want to be close to these other businesses. So that helps us a lot. And then another thing that a lot of people talk about is quality of life. And we have that in Sunrise. We have a great quality of life. We have a variety of living options in terms of housing. We have beautiful and well-maintained parks. We have great amenities. So that's a big part of the quality of life with our BB&T Center, with the Sawgrass Mills Mall. And then with the $1 billion new development, mixed use developments that are coming in like Metropica, it really makes a great place for businesses to come and a beautiful quality of life in Sunrise. And then in addition to that, obviously everybody knows about location and quality of life and the importance of that in terms of business relocation. There are a couple other factors that are also really important, but not talked about so much, like Sunrise is very selective when it comes to the type of developments that we want in the city. And you know, and you might call that being picky, but I think we're proud to say that we do want high quality development in the city. And what that does is it protects the assets and the development of the investment of the businesses that are already here. So if people are coming in and they're investing millions of dollars, they want to make sure that that is being protected, that Sunrise is going to you know, be selective with who else is going to be coming in. So that's another important thing. And then also we are professionally run. We have a very stable commission. We are financially stable. Even so that we really haven't raised taxes in more than 10 years. So that just shows companies that we are a stable city. That's another important factor. And then, you know, last but not least is really incentives, right? So that still is a big factor. When businesses are coming in and we're competing with other cities in all over the country, we need to be able to be competitive when it comes to incentives. And we are. We find very creative ways to incentivize companies to come here. We customize those incentives based on what that company is bringing to the city. So that is also another important factor that I wanted to mention.
Danielle, thanks so much. Kate, as Baptist Health's Director of Government and Community Relations for Broward, you've been tasked with helping to expand its presence within the county. Baptist's present reputation for excellence precedes itself. So tell us a little bit about why Sunrise. What are your plans for this community?
We have an existing outpatient location in Sunrise, and we've been in Sunrise for approximately 10 years now. And we've made a point of partnering with the city, getting involved with the community, making sure that the community knows that we're there to serve them, that we're providing them access to care. So, you know, we've very much enjoyed our relationship with Sunrise. It's an amazing, it's an amazing municipality. And to Danielle's point, I mean, it's impeccably run and they have beautiful parks and the quality of life there is just incredible. And that's something that's really important to Baptist. You know, we are a not-for-profit hospital system. You know, we do have our mission of giving back to the community. And in getting involved in Sunrise, you know, years ago, we made the commitment to the city of Sunrise that we weren't coming in just to, you know, leave our footprint and then, you know, go elsewhere, that we really wanted to develop a relationship with the city itself and its residents. So we are involved in a variety of different things from a community-based level. We participate in their Parks and Recs department. We sponsor events. We get out there. We, you know, provide educational materials to the community in regards to healthcare, education on health and wellness and prevention at no cost to the city of Sunrise. And also, you know, we are available for the city of Sunrise employees as well when they need some kind of healthcare assistance. So it's been a really wonderful partnership for Baptist Health. And we're looking to continue to grow that, you know, in years to come.
Kate, thanks so much. Erick, Metropica recently delivered its first residential tower, One Metropica. It's more than 75% sold and people are now moving in and are moved in. As a whole, Metropica is changing the area's landscape, bringing an urban feel to a suburban community. Why is this important to Sunrise?
Well, similar to what's happening around the United States with suburban markets, typically these suburban markets start as bedroom communities, like Sunrise was in the 70s and the 80s, and it evolved in the 90s to become a destination between the construction of the Sawgrass Mills project and the BB&T Center across the street. And then it became a job center in the 2000s by attracting tenants like HBO Latin America, American Express. Ford now has a location in Sunrise. So when you looked at the mix of what was happening from a suburban market, it was becoming a mature suburban market, which afforded us the opportunity to actually bring in an urbanscape that would allow us to create an urban center for the western portions of Broward County. If you look at the western corridor from Parkland all the way down to Miramar or Miami Lakes, along the 75 Sawgrass Expressway corridor, there wasn't really a downtown district in this marketplace. So our objectives in creating Metropica as a downtown, a living room for the western portions of Broward County, it afforded us the opportunity to go denser, to create height in the project, to create socialization centers, not unlike what you're seeing along the eastern seaboard of South Florida. If you look at the older portions of South Florida from, say, Coral Gables all the way up to West Palm Beach, they have urban cores, they have infrastructure, and they also have transit. So when you look at what's happening on the western boundaries of South Florida, the ability to have a location with infrastructure, like Danielle mentioned, with 595, the Sawgrass Expressway, 75, with the future transportation initiatives taken by Broward County, we felt that the one piece that was missing in this corridor was an urban look and feel with housing, multifamily, offices, residential, and also the ability to do transportation core where people not always have to drive their vehicles and could catch either a shuttle or some kind of mass transit that eventually will evolve in Broward County in the western corridor.
Thank you very much, Eric. Danielle, over to the city as a whole. So the city of Sunrise is known for being business friendly. How does that play out exactly when an entity expresses interest in relocating to or adding a presence to the city itself?
That's a great question. So I think being business friendly means something different to everybody. But from my perspective and what I think businesses feel about Sunrise, and from my experience, working for Sunrise is really amazing because my office is in the city manager's office. I work directly for the city manager. So that really just shows how big of a priority this truly is to the city of Sunrise, right? So having that direct contact with the city manager, with the highest level in the city, it really is a lot easier to get things done faster. And not just the city manager being extremely knowledgeable and being passionate about economic development, the entire city commission and the mayor also is extremely knowledgeable, passionate about economic development. They truly understand how important this is to the community, because if we have good businesses coming in, it means more jobs to the residents of Sunrise. So they really place a high priority in this, and this really is seen through the business community. I think that they realize that when they come in, when they have an issue, that we are very fast to try to address it and try to fix it. And not just that, the communication and having somebody there to help businesses through any potential issues. But another big thing when it comes to being business friendly is really through the development process, right? Businesses want to make sure that they're going to get their permitting done. That's another big factor when it comes to being business friendly. And, not to say that we're perfect, but I can say that we're always trying to make improvements and make progress to make it faster for the development community. So that's something that we're always working towards to be better at it and be faster, because we do understand that time is money, right? So we want to get it right. Like I said, we want to have high quality development. So we want to make sure it's done right, but we also want to make sure that it is done fast. So we can get development going quick in the city of Sunrise. So I think those would be the two biggest components. And obviously the incentives, again, providing the incentives, but it's not all about the incentives. I think having that quick communication and assistance through the process is really what tells companies that we are in fact business friendly.
Fantastic, Danielle. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kate, the importance of healthcare services, especially in the midst of a pandemic, cannot be overstated. Can you tell us a little bit about how Baptist integrates itself into a new community, such as what you've been doing here?
So one of the things that we did, especially when the pandemic, we had already been working on our telemedicine platform, which is called Care on Demand. And again, it all comes back to access for care for community members. So we actually made that free to the community for a significant amount of time because we recognized that people were apprehensive about going into emergency rooms, going into urgent cares, especially at the beginning of the pandemic when the virus wasn't as understood as it is now. So, you know, we really have been pushing in the Sunrise area as well as the other municipalities that we're located in here in Broward County. And also we're in 4 counties. So we're in Monroe, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. And our telemedicine platform, Care on Demand, really was something that was a priority for us to push out to the community so that they could have that continued access to care. During the pandemic, we also were undertaking construction of a 120,000 square foot facility on Pine Island and 595 right in the center of Broward County. Right next door to Sunrise, as a matter of fact. And this was going to be a multi-modality facility that was going to house every single center of excellence that Baptist Health has. And it's the first facility of its kind, not only within Baptist Health, but certainly for Broward County. So that is something we actually had to, you know, modify our interior for that building during the pandemic because we recognized that, again, we wanted to make sure that the facility was, I guess, what you might call pandemic friendly. We wanted to make sure that, you know, there were proper social distancing, that the seating was appropriate and also distanced, and that people would feel safe coming into a facility, a medical facility during this time, especially when everything is so uncertain. So, you know, really pushing out that technology to make it available to the community, and then also completing this project in Plantation, which is right next door to Sunrise, having all of our centers of excellence available to the community. It all comes back to access to care.
Well said. Thank you very much, Kate. Erick, Metropica has been a substantial commercial, or has a substantial commercial and retail component. Because of the pandemic, I know that your priorities have shifted somewhat. What's going to happen next?
So as the pandemic evolved last year, one of the things that we were seeing in the marketplace that we had large corporate users that were still interested in the Sunrise marketplace, the ability to access Miami, Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and also Naples across Alligator Alley on I-75 still was drawing large corporate users that wanted to locate somewhere within the vicinity of the Sunrise locations. So from a retailer's perspective, we were seeing less demand for retail, less demand for hotel users. So we shifted our plan and started having discussions with major office users that wanted to implement new headquarters in the marketplace. So our evolution of planning changed from having a large portion of retail to more office users and residential users, because we still have a residential demand in this marketplace. And it's primarily due to location, the proximity of the airport, Port Everglades, the BB&T Center, and the access ways to be able to actually access 4 counties within less than a 1-hour drive time. So our latest plan would incorporate more office users, corporate office users, more residential, and we still will maintain retail. The retail, we've actually had several requests this year in 2021 from entertainment users, restaurant users, and their focus is socialization. So we have to have flexibility in our design. For example, on restaurants, they may want more outdoor seating versus indoor seating, or the flexibility to shift their design depending on if the pandemic continues and or if the market continues to change. But our focus is creating that socialization, those areas where people can come out, have a great evening, that can work in the same complex and or live in the same complex and still have the ability to go down, have a coffee, have dinner, meet with friends, and also have the ability to go across the street to the BB&T Center, go to a hockey game, go to a concert. And of course, we have Sawgrass next to us with plenty of retail, 2.5 million square feet. So the retail will still be successful as the pandemic ebbs, and there'll still be more demand for socialization type of activities out at the project.
Eric, thanks so much. Danielle, the residential real estate options within Sunrise, they're continuing changing with the developments such as Metropica bringing a more urban feel to the area. How does residential help fuel interest from businesses?
It is very important to have a good variety of residential options in a city like Sunrise, because we do have a lot of the big businesses here. And when a CEO is coming to the city or a new company is looking to relocate, they are looking for different type of living options for their employees. If they're relocating from another state, they're going to be bringing new employees in. They want to be able to offer a variety of different living options to those employees. And also knowing that we have those options here, they know it's also going to be easier to recruit specific type of talent. So we already know that Sunrise and all of our neighboring cities, we have a lot of more of the suburban style living options with the single family homes and the condo. We have plenty of that here, and it's great. A lot of people love that. But we also want to be able to cater to a different type of people that want to have that more urban feel, and they want to live in a high rise. They want to have all the amenities nearby. They don't want to necessarily get in their car to go eat out in the restaurant. And there's plenty of millennials that look for that, especially ones that are working on the tech industry. And not just the millennials, but a lot of the empty nesters as well, right? That they lived in a big home, but now they're ready to they don't want the work anymore of having to take care of a big house, and they want to have all their amenities right there. So a lot of the high level executives and CEOs are also looking for that, the high rise living with a beautiful view, which now with Metropica, we do have that to offer, right? We have that high rise, and they can look over to the Everglades. They can have everything right there. And especially with the development progressing, we'll have some restaurants, so they will be able to have the live, work, play type feel, like Eric was saying. There's going to be office there, so if people want to live right there and then work, right around the corner, not have to necessarily get in traffic and go get their car, they will be able to do that. So I think it's great that we're offering that additional option in the city of Sunrise. I think we'll be able to attract even more businesses to the city than what we already have. And, if people are looking for that type of living, they don't have to drive to Fort Lauderdale anymore, right? They can have it right here in Sunrise. So I think that is extremely helpful when it comes to attracting businesses and keeping businesses here.
Thank you, Danielle. And as we've been speaking, I just want to say there's been so many comments coming in, so much support from Metropica, lots of support from Mayor Mike Ryan. So thank you, Mike. Thank you to everyone. We talk about what a close-knit community and family community and so centric to businesses here in South Florida. And you all truly do a beautiful job. It's just being a strong community together. So it's great to see as the discussion's been going on. Kate, at Baptist and all healthcare organizations for that matter, continues to evolve. What are some of the top priorities as they relate to meeting the needs of the communities that you're serving?
So for us, it really is about improving that patient experience. We want our community to have trusted healthcare close to home. That's really important to families. That's important really to anybody. We want our community to feel as though they are well cared for, like family members. And that's something that Baptist, really prides itself on, is that quality care and also maintaining those relationships. Again, we're in maybe, I think, 8 or 9 different municipalities just here in Broward County alone. And we make a real effort to engage with the community on a regular basis and letting them know that they have that, access to trusted care. The patient experience is really important to us. That's really a focus area for us. That's a priority, making sure that people are happy with the services that they're receiving and that they feel well cared for.
Excellent. Kate, thank you so much. Erick, Metropica's developer, Joseph Cavana, who we've had on here as well, who's fantastic, has owned the land for decades. He saw something special clearly, even when there was virtually nothing there. What was the appeal of the area then, in your words, and all the more now?
Yeah, I always kid Jose that he bought it during the Jurassic period and he's held on to it this long. But it's unusual in the development business to have one entity control a piece of land for an extended period of time. And there's a huge benefit to that because you can really look at what's happening in the marketplace and evolve the project as the marketplace adapts and how it changes. Looking at Sunrise and it originally being a major shopping destination, one of the largest shopping centers named in a survey in Brazil for shopping was Sawgrass Mills. So that destination for tourism was not only well known in the United States, but also in South America and parts of Europe. So the value that the existing shopping environment brought, along with Sunrise and the county developing the arena across the street where the Panthers play, created an unusual opportunity to maintain the property, evolve the property into what would be the next generation of Sunrise, and also what's happening in the suburban markets by incorporating mixed-use projects, high-rise living, transportation nodes where people don't have to use their vehicles, like Diana mentioned earlier. The ability to integrate and having everything within walking distance was critical. And also with the evolution and the growth of Sunrise, and the city has been extremely aggressive in attracting organizations to relocate and move to Sunrise, and the job growth that the city has supported has allowed us to be able to take the project to the next level, where if you were in a suburban community that didn't have a city that was actually looking for excellent growth and the type of growth that we were bringing, it would be very difficult to pull off a project like Metropica.
Thank you, Erick. Danielle, when we talk about the city of Sunrise, in a couple of sentences, can you sum up why Sunrise for someone moving here to South Florida? Why should they be taking a serious look at that community?
One sentence. Well, one sentence is really hard because there's so many different great things about Sunrise. But I'll go back to my first answer and try and just to summarize that. Great location, amazing quality of life, stable city, financially stable, great people, close-knit community, and just a great place to live, work, and play. I think that summarizes.
Very well, thank you, Danielle. And Erick, back over to you. When someone's coming into that community, they've relocated there, let's say with their corporation that's established roots now into Sunrise. Why Metropica over other places that they could choose to move into?
I believe the accessibility to airports, the Miami airport. A lot of people are unaware that Broward County Transit actually runs an express bus from the arena down to the Miami airport to Brickell and also to the Fort Lauderdale airport. The accessibility to the airports has been critical. The amount of business-oriented, wealthy South Americans that have moved to the marketplace along the 75 corridor, when you look at the city of Weston, Southwest Ranches, Davie, has brought in a demographic which never existed in the western boundaries of Broward County. So when you look at, and also to the north and the growth of Parkland, when you look at what's happened is Metropica and Sunrise are really the 50-yard line of South Florida. When you look at the demographics of the Tri-County area, between Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County, we are truly the 50-yard line. We're midfield of the entire urban core of South Florida. So that also has attracted new residents to the marketplace that were unaware of the infrastructure and the facilities that this marketplace offered.
Thank you, Eric. Kate, over to you. Talking about, someone moving here to South Florida, their business is relocated there into Sunrise, and they're moving in and they're going to become a resident of Sunrise. What can you say to that person on behalf of Baptist Health in terms of looking at healthcare and what you all are able to provide there?
So, again, we do have an outpatient facility in Sunrise at this time. It's an urgent care, and it provides basic triage level care for individuals that, may have a sinus infection or strep throat. We do flu testing. We provide COVID testing. We offer the rapid test as well as the PCR test. So, as far as healthcare options are concerned, we most certainly are not the only one, but we like to think, because of our partnership with Sunrise, that, we really do take pride in caring for the Sunrise community. It is a really tremendous community. I spend a lot of my time, involved with the chamber in Sunrise, which is phenomenal as well, and really supports its businesses. I've spent some time working with the mayor and his advisory council. And I mean, talk about people that really care about their constituents and care about their residents. The city of Sunrise does a tremendous job making sure that the residents and the community have what they need to be happy and healthy and secure. So, again, we've really enjoyed our partnership with Sunrise for going on 10 years. It has so much to offer, and for families, for corporations, for, individuals. It's one of our favorite municipalities.
Thank you very much, Kate. Back over to the city as a whole, Danielle, there's so much that goes on in the city of Sunrise in terms of, economics, business, of course, entertainment, all the different shopping destinations there. There's so much that's going on in the city right now. How do you continue to maintain that small town feel?
Yeah, so I think what I do want to mention that I haven't had really an opportunity to talk about yet is when I started with the city of Sunrise about 2 years ago. My role, I was brought in to really focus on the redevelopment of the eastern portion of the city. So we've been focusing a lot of the conversation on the business and entertainment district, which is where Metropica is, and where we have the BB&T Center, the Sawgrass Mills Mall, is what a lot of people talk about naturally when it comes to economic development. But there's so much opportunity to in our original neighborhoods in Sunrise. And that's the eastern portion of the city. We completed a master plan for that particular area of the city about 2 years ago. And that's when I was brought in to implement some of the recommendations of that master plan. And the city has already invested about $30 million just in making improvements to the original neighborhoods of Sunrise, which is really, it has so much character. And what you're talking about, the small town feel, a large part of that really comes from that portion of the city. So I don't want to forget to talk about that. And like I said, there's been over $30 million that the city has already committed there in infrastructure improvements, rezoning, park renovations. There's so much that we're doing in that area, and we have already attracted some private investment and developers to come in and do some exciting projects in that area of the city. And we hope to continue attracting those type of investments. So there's a lot of opportunity on the eastern portion of the city as well. And just, like Kate and Eric, everybody was mentioning, we are a close community, and we have a very progressive mayor and commissioners that are always communicating with the community. So I think that really helps with keeping everybody close. Despite having all these really big businesses, we're still a very close community and really care about the residents of Sunrise.
Thank you, Danielle. So really from a leadership perspective, really from, it starts at the top. So
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you very much. We have an audience question over to Erick, going back over some information that you've already shared, but just to reiterate as a whole for the development, how many towers in total are there at Metropica, and how many residences will be there?
At full build out, we're proposing 8 towers, along with 2 mid-size projects, or 2 mid-size towers. So there'll be approximately 10 vertical buildings that would be residents. Some of it would be rentals, and the majority would be condominiums.
Thank you very much, Erick.
All right, thank you.
Kate, back over to you. Moving through 2021 on behalf of Baptist Health, what's something you'd like to share with our viewers?
I would say one of our focus areas for sure is getting preventive health and wellness information and education out to the residents. We actually, surprisingly enough, healthcare doesn't really make money by hospitalizations. It's in our best interest, and it's in the community's best interest to understand the value of prevention and wellness. And our desire is to actually keep you out of the hospital. That sounds counterintuitive, but that is legitimately very important to us. You know, the healthier a community is, the better it is for everybody. Having a healthy workforce is better for any company and any, CEO. So they're going to be more productive. They're going to be happier. So getting out that health and wellness information to folks and making it accessible and making it free is very important to us. And that's something that we're definitely focusing on. And we work closely with the city to make sure that they work with us to disseminate any information that we have. They've been wonderful about that. Again, the Parks and Recs Department for the City of Sunrise Leisure Services is extremely robust. They provide so much programming. We work with them very closely to provide programming to the residents. Right now, all of our programming is virtual, taking place via Zoom, but we have, doc talks, we have yoga, Tai Chi, Zumba. All of that is taking place virtually at this time, but typically we would provide that for the City of Sunrise in person through their Leisure Services Department, which again is extremely robust, very focused on health and wellness and making sure that those resources are provided to the community at large.
Thank you, Kate. Along those lines, can you go through the ways Baptist is involved in administering the vaccine?
Okay, so at this point in time, we are kind of on pause actually with the vaccine and vaccine distribution. We are working with the state of Florida to procure the vaccine. We were receiving regular shipments. Those shipments have ceased. We are still continuing to vaccinate our frontline responders to our best of our ability. But our plan is, once we are in receipt of the vaccine from the state and those shipments have resumed, our plan is to open up community distribution sites to people who are 65 and older and immunocompromised. So that is our plan. But right now, as I mentioned, there is a supply chain issue with the state of Florida. And so we have pressed pause. We were able to vaccinate approximately 30,000 people prior to the supply chain issue occurring.
Thank you very much, Kate. Danielle, back over to you, talking about initiatives for the City of Sunrise, looking through the remainder of 2021 into 2022. What's on the horizon?
So despite the pandemic and everything that is going on, we're still seeing a good amount of new development coming into the city, which is great. We have a lot of bigger projects coming in, some smaller projects as well. We're seeing a lot of demand on residential side, so we are seeing some very good residential developments that are coming in. Obviously Metropica is one of them, but like I said, on the eastern portion of the city, we are seeing some big redevelopment when it comes to older plazas that are just outdated and developers coming in with really good plans and knocking down some of those old outdated commercial plazas and turning them into these very beautiful residential units. So we're seeing a lot of that coming in. Our focus has definitely been on the, like I said, the eastern portion of the city and redeveloping that and doing a rezoning to a form-based code, which is really going to make development easier in some of the commercial corridors where we're going to try to attract more of the smaller mixed-use type projects to come in. So when you're talking about University Drive, some of these corridors that are known for being purely commercial, what we are trying to do is to incentivize developers and investors to come in and create more of these smaller mixed-use projects where we're going to be allowing residential with commercial all mixed together in office and creating more of these little urban pockets. So this is something that we're working on right now on this rezoning and a land use plan amendment that is going to help attract and incentivize redevelopment on the eastern portion of the city. And then obviously with our business and entertainment district, we want to continue to make sure that our businesses that are already there are doing well and supporting them and also attracting new businesses to come in as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Erick, back over to you. This is from the audience. How soon do you see the groundbreaking of the entertainment commercial portion of Metropica taking place?
Currently, we'd love to be breaking ground the fall of this year, fall of 2021, which would allow us to have a grand opening sometime in the fall of 2023. Currently, we are participating on transportation initiatives. Mayor Ryan of Sunrise had put together a transportation committee to assist on the infrastructure on the Sawgrass Expressway to alleviate some of the traffic north of the BB&T Center. We've also been approached by Broward County to participate in a mass transit effort north of the Metropica property, which would incorporate future transit, which would have a train system, whether it's elevated or at grade is not determined at this point in time. But I know that Broward County is implementing some initiatives. So along with not only planning what's happening on the Metropica property, we're also participating with various committees and with various agencies on what's happening adjacent to the property.
Thank you, Erick. And I just want to say, you know, on behalf of Haute Living and Haute Residence, what tremendous leaders your organizations are. Baptist Health, such a leader in the South Florida community. So much good that you all do here. And the City of Sunrise, on the forefront, your initiatives, the community-based systems, everything that you're doing there to support economic development and growth, and then back to the residences and maintaining that small town feel in South Florida. And Metropica, such a leader there. Just, this has been such a great discussion, and we're been really thrilled to have all of you. So reaching out to Metropica, Erick, how can our viewers get more information? What's the best means?
We have a, if you want to visit the sales gallery, which is open, and they're using social distancing, and they also have masks if you don't have a mask. You can come out, and there's a model center and meet with the sales team in the sales gallery if you're interested in any of the residential units. We also have a website, livemetropica.com, which has information on the residential units, the office, and also the commercial. And we also have a YouTube page, and we have Facebook, so you can go through social media and just Google Metropica, and you will have the ability to get information on the project.
Thank you very much, Erick. Kate, for Baptist Health.
So I would encourage everybody to visit our website, baptisthealth.net. And also download Care on Demand, which is our online telemedicine platform. We not only have primary care physicians, but we have pediatrics. We also have internal medicine, emergency medicine, as well as even mental and behavioral health modalities that people can access, as even nutrition services through our Care on Demand app. So you can meet with a dietitian. You can, work on your January resolutions for 2021 if that's what you're looking to do. But our website is extraordinarily comprehensive and explains all of the services that we provide to the South Florida community at large. And again, that's baptisthealth.net.
Kate, thanks so much. Danielle, for viewers that are, CEOs of businesses or corporations that are looking to possibly relocate to South Florida, what's their best avenue to get in touch with you all to discuss?
Yes, they can contact me directly at any time. I would be more than happy to have a conversation with them. Like I said, I work directly for the city manager. So if we need to have a meeting and include the city manager, we will. But you should definitely reach out to me first, and I'll be able to help you. You can contact me. My email is DA-Lima, Lima, at sunrisefl.gov. So you can email me. You can also call me at 954-746-3432 at any time. The city's website, if you want to check out the city's website, is sunrisefl.gov. You can also visit the city's website for just general information about the city. And I look forward to talking to anybody who has any interest or questions about Sunrise economic development and redevelopment.
And we also have a message from the mayor, from Mayor Mike Ryan. Mm-hmm. We'll give him a shout out. He would like to share his email address as well. MRyan, RYAN at sunrisefl.gov. Feel free to reach out directly to the mayor as well.
There we go.
Such community support and such kind words again on Metropica. What an asset to the South Florida community overall. The way that you all are running the city of Sunrise is truly beautiful, and Baptist Health, continued leader in South Florida, keeping us all healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Looking forward to seeing you all soon. And on behalf of Haute Residence and Haute Living, thank you so much for your time today and for educating all of us.
Thank you for having us, April.
Yes, April, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, April.
Stay healthy and safe. See you all soon.
All right. Bye-bye.